Hello and welcome to the Fresh Squeeze podcast. I'm Miles,
And I'm Charlie.
and this is a new podcast series in which we are speaking to founders, operators, business leaders across various industries to get the inside scoop on the juiciest stories behind their biggest wins and toughest lessons from their business journey. We'll be diving into the journeys to becoming leaders in their industry, the bold moves and unexpected detours that have shaped their growth, from genius systems to happy accidents to everything in between. We'd also love to gain some insights from our guests around the current state of the industries they operate within, any key trends and challenges they're currently facing or foresee coming, and most pressingly, what do they think the impact of artificial intelligence will be on their industry?
In the first season of the podcast, we'll be exploring the biggest challenges in the healthcare industry, from workforce pressures to impacting emerging technologies like AI, and how leaders are navigating the change. So come and join us and get your fresh squeeze today.
And what better place to start than my good friend Conor Crowe, a founder truly like no other, who has a truly unique approach to business, and can't wait to get into his story with you. Welcome, Conor.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Miles, for having me, especially on this first episode. So yeah, absolute pleasure to be on here, and excited to talk all things business, AI, and this wonderful world that we live in.
Amazing, amazing. So, Conor, why don't you start by telling your story, setting the stage a bit. Tell us about Polar Media House, where the idea came from, and how that journey started.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we're currently in year 7 of business, and this kind of world of operating in the business, I should say. But yeah, so I got to take you back to 2019, and I was a lot younger back then, and not so old and grey, and a lot less wiser. But back then, I think that the world was a changing place. I was fresh out of school with 2 other of my very, very good friends, Quinn and Brad, who helped me set up what is Polar Media House, my content creation agency. And yeah, the world was kind of really being taken by storm with social media. I think Instagram was the biggest app in the world at the time, probably still is, behind TikTok. And yeah, I think there was this natural need for content, and what we would probably now call a content creator was becoming a thing. And all of a sudden, there was like this entry level creator role needed, and everyone was all of a sudden needing to create content. And so kind of for me leaving school in 2017, wow god, that was I was absolutely perfect timing for me. And I think my 2 other co-founders, Brad and Quinn, really, we both, look, the 3 of us were young, stupid, and really had nothing else to lose, and thought, well, look, if it's not going to work, we can always go do the university thing, we can always go back into getting a real job. So we thought, why not give it a go? And yeah, that's how we started Polar. And yeah, 7 years later, had ups and downs, but we just gave it a go, and we were like, screw it, we've got nothing else to lose, let's see what happens.
Mate, it's funny you say that. I think being young, dumb, and stupid, and being 19 years old is almost your biggest competitive edge at that age, and just taking a risk and seeing where it takes you.
I mean, 100%. I think when you're young, you need to take those risks. No, that's what being young is for. I think. I mean, I look back on it now, and funny enough, Brad and I were having this conversation about 3 days ago. We had just wrapped up a shoot in London, and we are having a beer after it, and we were like, "God, we are so lucky to be 8 years along the line, and this is where we're at now." And actually taking that risk was the best thing that we ever did. So, if there's anyone out there kind of thinking about it or teetering on the line, it is don't get me wrong, it's hard, it's not for everyone, but it is a bloody journey, and it's a great one to be on.
Brilliant. And Conor, what are some of the highlights that you've had over maybe the last 2 or 3 years? Any initiatives that you've got on at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many highlights. Honestly, we're really lucky. I mean, I think some of our early highlights were we got to go to the World Rally Championships during COVID. Followed actually a good friend of ours, Tom Williams, who was a junior World Rally driver. It was middle of COVID, and we got it. I think the best thing about it was we have all 3 of us have these letters from the British government at the time, and it says that you are exempt from COVID regulations, you can travel, but actually the only way the drivers team could get us in to the country was if we were we'd be classed as professional sports athletes. So I can actually say for an entire year I was actually a professional athlete in the eyes of the government. I mean,
I've seen your rugby pitch, mate. There's nothing professional about it.
you know, I'm very lucky that. So that was probably one of my favourite moments. We got to travel with them for a bit. We drove all the way from here to Monaco, middle of COVID. We were on a Euro tunnel train, and there was literally 4 cars on there. And like, I think that was an incredible one, driving around France. I mean, another one I think is our more recent one, which is our Heart of the Game documentary, which we've started filming at Maidenhead Rugby Club, in partnership with Will Greenwood, who former England Rugby World Cup winner 2003, and we're really trying to show a highlight of what good community sport can be doing. And I think that's one of the better initiatives we've done, where we've kind of used our skill set from our business to try and do something good in the community.
Awesome, good. And I guess we've got to ask, right, is how have you seen AI and new technologies coming into the landscape, and how has that changed how you guys work?
I mean, do you know what? It's so prominent, and I've been having this conversation more than once this week, and I'm almost on a daily basis. I'm in a lucky position where our business has developed a lot, and a lot of people now come to me, and I get a lot of good opportunities. And in particular, this week, the highlight or the big ticket item, I should say, is AI, and I've had a couple of approaches from AI, what we would now call AI agencies. And they are focusing on creating this generative content, AI content, and they're kind of coming at it from this is a cheaper, more quicker alternative to kind of what we traditionally do. So it's massively changing the landscape of my business and my industry, but I'm not scared of it. I think some of the older guys I talk to who I've followed in their footsteps and they've helped me, they're a little bit more worried about it. I think we need to see this as a shift, and it is definitely a shift. And those businesses that adapt and try to get involved with it will survive. Those ones who kind of rebel, a few will survive because they're purists, and I think people will like that about them. But a lot of people are going to get left behind. I think I see a lot of remnants, and I'm too young to remember it, but the internet bubble back in the late 90s, early 2000s, people thought this was the end of the world. And it was, there was a bubble, and it did burst, but it revolutionized the world we live in today. So, it's an exciting time.
Yeah, I guess it's trying to understand what is hype and what is actually useful technology out there which can help your business.
I think there's a lot of noise, isn't there? And I think you guys, as two guys who absolutely love tech, and we've all got that love between the three of us. I think it's so hard now because you see a headline, or especially with social media, you see a social media post and it's got 1 million likes, and you're like, oh my god, it's going to revolutionize the world, and you're like, it's so hard not to get distracted by that.
So I guess diving a bit deeper into how your business works, where do you see AI really helping, and kind of what are the pain points do you reckon it can solve?
I mean, I think it's, for myself, I've seen it, in the way I've seen it benefit my business is it's made us more efficient. There are certain tasks that I found hard before, or it was labor intensive, time intensive. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, we use AI across the board now, near enough from days where we're photographing on location or video. Our cameras are using AI now. That's how far they've come. But also on our computer softwares, and then from day-to-day tasks. So I think it is the biggest leveler that's happened in recent history. I think it is going to help a lot of people. And I think a lot of people who, especially smaller businesses like my own, they're going to be able to compete at a higher level because they can do things so much quicker. Don't get me wrong, I think we have to stay on the air of caution with it, because there is, there's a lot we don't know about AI. And I think, especially from my perspective in the creative industry, with proprietary rights and copyright laws, who owns what, there's a lot of companies putting in artwork from other photographers, other artists, other videographers, and they're just asking the AI to recreate them. So whose idea is that? Who owns that copyright? And I think that's an area we need to worry about.
It's an interesting one. I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest. And are the government doing anything to help this, or are they?
Yeah, so I'm part of the Creative Business Panel, which is a government initiative. So we feed back to the government as industry leaders and tell them what we can and can't do. And in that, a lot of talk around AI has happened. There is advisory boards, but with anything that happens in the UK government, it's slow. And is it quick enough? I'm not too sure. I think with the fast pacedness of tech and how quickly it is growing and how quickly it's moving, I think we need to be a bit more reactive.
I mean, it's great to hear that they're doing that. And from my own experience, I do think the government are doing the right things to make sure that small businesses are protected, but also striving towards efficiencies and growing as well. So it's good to hear.
Yeah, and going back to something you said, Conor, as well, about how it's made you so much more efficient on those monkey tasks, if you will. Those, you want to be focused on the service delivery, your love for content creation. And I remember Sam Altman saying, he thinks that AI will help birth the first $1 billion one-man business because of that kind of thing. So it's interesting to see where it will take us. But why don't we go back to Polar and your journey? And what do you think was the biggest thing responsible for helping to get you to where you are now? Obviously, 7 years in, cemented in the industry, you've working with some big multinational companies. What do you think it was that really helped you get to where you are now?
I think the biggest thing is just the willingness to get on and work. I think that is really, really, it's an undervalued skill. It's a hard skill to find in people, and I think especially in this day and age. I think the thing that myself and my founders all have in common is that we just wanted to get on with it, and we were just going to try. And I think that's the biggest thing. I talk to so many other people. They come to me and they go, how did you do it? It must be really hard. And it's like, well, you just do the first job and you get on with it, and you see, well, where does that one go? And you get the next one, and you get the next one, and slowly that momentum builds. And I kind of refer it to, we all used to make a snowman, right? When it snowed, and you're starting off and you're like, why is my ball just not getting big? And then before you know it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it is that snowball effect. So I think the biggest thing is that we just keep going. The other biggest part is some people give up too early, and actually they think, it's not gone right in the first 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Like, we're 7 years in and we are nowhere near where we want to be. Yeah. We are so far away from what we believe we can be. And we're just going to keep going and trying to build that network, trying to keep learning, talking to people. I think the biggest thing for me personally is just the willingness to do it.
Yeah, and interesting something you said there. Do you think that if you had known how hard it was going to be to get to where you are now, you would have done it? Because I think a lot of people, the beauty of starting a business is you don't quite know how it's going to play out. You never have 100% information about what you've got to do. You just have to start and go with it. And, life throws curveballs at you. But because you're not fully aware of what it can throw at you, you just go for it anyway. And then you're so far down the line that you're adaptable, you overcome these challenges. And then once you've overcome one challenge, I think you can overcome anything. And then all of a sudden you're 7 years in.
Yeah, and I think it's I don't think anyone knows how it's going to go. I think I talk to so many people in the business world, and they're just like, I'm just figuring out, just see what happens. And it's like, I'm lucky enough to have mentors that are a lot older than me. They're in their 50s and their 60s. They've made their millions. And it's just, half the thing is the attitude. They're just like, I had no clue what I was doing. And I'm like, I still have no clue what I'm doing. We're just going to do it, and we're just going to see what happens. And sometimes it is like, I think as I've gotten older and I've gone more into it, planning is more important. In my early days, I thought, screw it, winging everything. There was no business plan. And then the older I've got, the more there is parts that need to be structured and planned. and then there's parts that don't need to be. And you need to realize, I don't think one is better than the other. I think you need both to succeed. I think you need to be you need to be willing to be adaptable, to let things change and actually, okay, that didn't work. Let's move on or pivot. We always use the word pivot when we're talking about, okay, that didn't work, let's pivot to the next thing, rather than, it's not a step forward or a step back. It's like, okay, we've learned something. What can we take from that and repackage it and start again?
It's an advantage for small businesses, that ability to be so agile and pivot. You don't spend months planning something and then start in the wrong direction and go, oh well, we've planned it for so long, let's just do it anyway. You can go, no, let's go in a different direction. We've kind of got the feedback from the real world to know that we can pivot and go in a different direction. That's going to be better. And that's
it was Monday yesterday. I spent yesterday just reviewing the first 6 months of the year. So, back in late last year, towards the end of the year, I started planning this year. And I always plan I plan each quarter, and then I plan the full year. So I kind of have yearly, quarterly, and then the monthly goals. And we were kind of looking back on the first 6 months of the year. Where have we gone right? We're looking not only at the numbers and in terms of the accounts, okay, are we up or are we down? And actually, okay, so we're up on the accounts, that's great, financials are looking good, but actually, where are we at in terms of our business goals? And so actually, I was looking back at it, and half of the goals we didn't achieve. Half of the goals are unbelievably unrealistic now that I look at it, but you need a couple of those.
And I aim for the moon, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we did a lot of what we wanted to do. We did an awful lot of not doing anywhere near it. And it's now just like, okay, so why didn't it work? How can we turn this into an advantage? And it's just like, you've just got to be constantly evolving the whole time. I think that's the biggest thing. And be willing to change. I know a lot of guys who have regularly, in 2 to 3 year intervals, got rid of all their clients and just started again. And they're like, I need to give this a whole new fresh look. So it's
So Conor, if you could solve one major challenge in your business or externally with trends and stuff that you foresee coming over the next 6 to 12 months, what do you think it would be?
I think that's a really unbelievably hard question, and I'm going to go back to something you asked me earlier, which was AI. And if anything, it's that problem. It's, okay, how do I bring in AI into my business, but without destroying the soul of my business, which is creativity and human creativity? I make a living from being creative. Everyone who works under me gets paid from being creative, their ideas, their photo shoots, their social media posts, whatever it is. So it's like, how do we incorporate AI, whether it is becoming an AI agency and we having a part of our business that does those things, or is there a way that we can fully incorporate it but without being reliant upon it creatively? I think it's a really hard thing to do. It's a real fine balancing act that needs to happen. And I've thought about it a lot. It's like, okay, so how do we, Miles, you and I have sat down for many, many hours discussing this. And it's like, how do we bring in AI in a way that is going to ultimately help us? And I still think there is a way that we can sell content that is AI generated. I think there is a way to do it. There's a lot of people that are against it.
As like a low entry level offer.
Yeah, and I think because there is this willingness, and I think, okay, the big way we made money in the early days was helping small local businesses. And there's a part of me that's like, okay, for us to grow, we need to lose those people. But a part of me is like, that is our core. It's what we did. And a lot of those people were very, very good to us for many, many years. So why should I all of a sudden just give them up because, there's more money? I don't think it should always be about money. If you're in business just for money, you're in business for the wrong reason. You should want to solve a problem, to help someone, to make life easier. That's the only reason you should ever be doing this, because otherwise, if you're just chasing numbers, you are going to miss out on the whole big picture. And that's
chasing.
Yeah.
Forever chasing. Yeah.
And I think that's dangerous because that's a cycle. And I was actually out on so we just got some new cameras in today. I was out on a walk earlier testing some gear. And I was like, shit, I've spent the last 6 months chasing this idea of becoming bigger. I've forgotten what we were about, which is, sometimes actually me just taking photos and being creative. And so sometimes you detach yourself. But so to go back to your problem, one of the biggest problems I want to solve is actually AI in the industry, and how can we use it to maybe for good and not just for making our lives easier, I think.
So, Conor, have you seen a demand in AI content at all from any of your customers, or is it do they still want that authenticity of what you do?
I mean, I think there's an interest. I don't think there's clients have said it to me. I've seen this tool. Should we use it? Should we not? And I think the weird thing is in my industry, because ours is kind of associated with tech, and that we use cameras, we use editing software. Our clients come to us for wider problems, being like, how do we incorporate AI? And it's just because we kind of have an understanding of how these things work. And there's a lot of noise, and I think it is noise. I think a lot of people don't really know how to use them, so there's going to be an advantage there. I think there's someone that could capitalize on that. But I think the demand is actually, the more demand I'm seeing is from within the industry, and it's like, there's a market here, and actually we could move into this. I had a meeting 2-3 days ago with a guy pitching an AI agency to me. He goes, right, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it. So there's definitely noise, and he's not the first one to do it. And that's where I think the noise is coming from at the minute. I think we're still in very much these early phases. I think no one's done it right yet. I think it's the big thing I've seen. I think there's a lot of stuff on Instagram and TikTok, but they're one-man bands. They're not quite on a scale performance. Or you've then got to give that the complete opposite end. It's the big dogs. It's the tech companies with billions. They're in the game. So you kind of have like this. It hasn't quite made it to us yet in the middle, where we're not big, we're not small, we're medium-sized. We've got a few people working for us, and we've got 10, 15, 20 clients, right? And we're facilitating on like an agency or a traditional agency level. Not really hit us there in the middle. I know some of the people who maybe work for me on a freelance basis and have their freelancing gigs going, who have smaller clients, don't quite have the buying power that some of our clients have, don't have the thousands and thousands of pounds to spend on marketing. They're interested because they're like, I can save money. I think so. We're getting it to do this. So it's here and here at the minute, and I think slowly that gap will close. I think that's the nature of the beast. I think I kind of a trait where, like, if you let's think back to 2013, 2015. Instagram was just getting big, but what we would call heyday of Instagram, like 16 to 20.
Yeah.
I think in the next 2 to 3 years, that's when we're going to really see that boom.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to what you said about the internet bubble, it's definitely going to happen with AI as well. There's going to be a mass filtering of the bullshit from what's really gonna last, and we'll see that. And it's interesting you said that, you made that point about there being a kind of gap in the middle for those. And I think to summarise what you said, a real trusted partner who you can go to and be like, hey, basically audit our business and tell us what is the best way we can leverage AI to make either our operations run smoother, our client delivery run smoother, if we can generate more leads using AI, we can cut our costs, something like that. But somebody that's just going to be very honest with you because they've got the experience to do it and they can show you that. So I agree, that's definitely the biggest challenge. I think most small businesses, medium-sized businesses, even large businesses, every business in the world would probably say the same answer as you have for that question. What is the biggest challenge? Everyone's trying to figure it out, can't get between the noise and what's real. So I agree.
Yeah, it's. I think. I mean, even from a perspective as in our business, right? So, um, what our first AI investment, if you want to call it, was ChatGPT and buying it on an enterprise level for all of the team. At the time, we didn't really know what we were buying. We'd seen a lot of hype, but actually, it's massively benefited us. Now we have that on more than one level. Um, and we're doing it because we're interested in it, right? That's the only reason. There is that gap for people, like you say, for someone to come in and figure that out, because there's hundreds and thousands of tools at the minute that you could choose from. It's like, I mean, I was playing on one yesterday where you're creating, you can literally come up with your ideal customer, and it will spit out a marketing plan for you on how to go get it. And I'm like, well, this is nuts.
Crazy. It's the kind of thing that would have taken somebody a week to to do.
Is the information perfect? Probably not.
No.
Right? It's it's going to take time. It's all these things. It's training these models, right? So that will take the time. But if you've got someone coming to you with the solution, being like, right, we can give you this, this, and this, and this, of course people are going to jump at it because it's going to make their life easier.
But even using that Pareto principle, even if it's something that gets you to 80% of the work done, and you're left to do that 20% to really tidy it up and make it, market ready, client ready, or whatever it is, it's still massive time saving, isn't it?
A big one is I've got a big one. We use Fixer AI. I don't know if you've heard of it. Email guys. It literally it creates draft responses to your emails. We get hundreds of emails a day. Going into something like that, and you're like, oh well, that's just it. You go, like you say, it's the 80% thing, isn't it? It's it's okay, it's not perfect, but I can then just change it a little bit.
It removes that friction of starting a task, right? You get into your email and you already see it drafted. You're like, oh, I just need to scrub this up and then send it off, and then we're good to go. It's that speed and efficiency.
It's like those days where you're just like, you were run down, you don't want to do anything. I think those are the days that like AI can really help you. You're like, okay, let me just spit it into there for a minute and just give me, like you say, it's a starting point. And sometimes that's all we need. Idea generation. I think that's going to develop. I'm excited to see what happens, Like, if this is where we're at the minute, where is it going to be? Because I know initially everyone was like, oh, photographers, you're screwed. People are coming for your job. Then it was like the coders all of a sudden, they're like, oh shit, they actually came for us first. And they're like, they're petrified. And I think now that's kind of calmed down. It's like that. It's almost like that scare at the start, isn't it? The unknown. And once that all settles down, and like we said, I think because I don't think we're at the bubble yet. I think we're still on the hype trajectory. I think we're
like Bitcoin in 2013.
We're nearly there. I think we're edging. I think we are slowly coming back down, and it's getting to that bubble point. But I think once it does, and like we say, the noise clears, and the big thing for me is like how all of a sudden are there so many companies?
I know. Well, everyone's to get on the right side of it, right? Everyone's saying, AI is going to take your job, so everyone's got the decision to make. It's either wait around and let AI take my job, or maybe take your job, or try and get on the right side of it. And actually, something you said as well, people coming to you for advice on AI, when you're a content creation agency, do you kind of foresee more general businesses becoming AI proficient and actually adding it to their...
I'll give you so I can't say this client's name because of an NDA, but what I can say about them is they have, the moment we signed on with them as a vendor, they came to us and they were like, here's our portal. We all got given a login. We logged into their portal, and it was an AI brand generator, and we could be like, we could literally type in, we want this for this video, or we need these photos for these decks,
marketing content,
and it spit it out in all their branding. And like I was mind blown. I went on it and I was like, this is really impressive stuff, but made our job so much easier. And it was like, they also, the other part of it was, if we wanted to know how long our invoice was going to be paid, they had a separate AI portal that you could speak to an agent, and it would, it wasn't a real agent, it was an AI agent, and it found out all the information. You knew when you were going to get paid, when's the next one coming in. So all these, it's great cash flow information for us as a business. We work with companies where 30 days isn't the norm. It's 60 to 90, and it's quite hard to plan. Sometimes we don't know that date that it's coming in, and these big tech companies need those 90 days. So going to that and having that information just removes so much.
It's just efficiency, isn't it? I've seen a couple over the last week where I've emailed people and they've come back. It says, for example, this is Charlie Lane's AI assistant. How can I help you? And I go, I want to book a meeting in, or etc. And I converse with the AI agent, and the next thing I know, I'm on a meeting with the person I want to speak to. And it's just remarkable how quickly it does it, and also how it just saves their time. So
do you know what? I have seen a massive increase. I don't know if you guys have had it, because with the new Apple ISO, it takes the voicemail before you kind of pick it up. The amount of increased calls from AI like lead generations or things, I'm like, you can kind of, the voice just isn't quite right yet, is it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably getting 2 or 3 a day now. Maybe I had 6 yesterday, and I get a high amount of phone calls because of my business and my phone numbers online everywhere. So I'll probably get a higher amount of spam calling than the average person. But I'm getting onto these now, and I'm like, all of these are AI now.
Mate, you need to get AI to answer the calls for you.
Yeah, I know.
I guess that's where we're going, though, isn't it? Because we're going to get to a stage where we won't be able to tell whether it's an AI agent or a real person. And we'll then need our own AI agent to basically chat to them and work out what they're selling, what they're doing, and then push it through to us in a document or an email saying, this guy phoned you, we think he's a waste of time, or we think they're going to benefit your company, you should speak to them. And you go through it. It's going to be a weird time. There's going to be a lot of change.
I think that's like, I mean, I don't know if you've seen them, but there's some stuff on Instagram now, these AI videos that are coming out. I mean, my favourite ones are the Yeti vlogs. I don't know if you've seen them.
No.
And it's Yeti, and it's a full Instagram channel of him vlogging, and I'm like, this is hilarious. I honestly, I've lost hours to that already. And just the quality is insane.
So it's working then?
It is.
Right, Conor, thank you so much for that chat. It's been really, really great to have you on as the first podcast guest. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. But best of luck with Poland Media House, especially with the documentary, Heart of the Game, which I'm sure will be hitting our screens towards Q4 or 2026, and we're looking forward to see it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys, for having me.
Cheers, Conor.